there, and then we kind of wrap it up. Talk about Gibbs. We'll talk about Gibbs. And we're gonna talk about what Lane Johnson said. Niggas. But let's go.
Is going to he's going to step away. So, I've known Teddy a long time, and man, the human being is unbelievable. Certainly, the player. Everything that he's about, the type of teammate he is, the way he prepares, always played the game up here and had a huge heart. He's going to be missed. So I'll never forget 2019 when Drew got injured. We had just gone out to the Rams, got beat out there, and Drew, got his thumb, and we lost him for 5 weeks. And Teddy stepped in. We won 5 in a row, man. And that was Teddy. And then just his time being with us meant a lot, and it meant a lot to our guys. So he's going to be missed. Teddy Bridgewater. All
right, man, got rid of Teddy. I mean, I don't know why he's stepping away. Personal feelings, personal family stuff. I can't really call it with Teddy. But Teddy stepping away. I know they had that other kid from Illinois. I heard he balling. So I don't know if they're going to roll with 3 quarterbacks or put that kid on the practice squad and sign another veteran quarterback. But Teddy had a nice deep ball to Dominic Lovett. He was a receiver that was making a lot of noise. I think he was drafted late last year. 6th round out of Georgia. So yeah, man, it's hate to see Teddy go, man. Teddy did a lot of good stuff down there with the kids, and maybe he go back into coaching. Maybe he didn't want to be that far away from home, but maybe it's just time to go. Maybe Lions make a run and need a backup quarterback. There go holla at old Teddy, but yeah, man, that's kind of messed up right there. I like Teddy Bridgewater. Came back from that nasty leg injury, liked him at Louisville, did a lot of good things, man, there. So, yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs got his chili. That's a good little talking point right there. Jahmyr Gibbs got his chili, man, and, I'm just going to harp on this for 1 minute. He got his chili, and, Dan Campbell, he spoke on that a little bit too. So, Jahmyr got his chili. Let's go.
I think that'll always be there, but I mean, we're going to push him. We're going to push him because we think this kid can be one of the best, if not the best. So we're going to push him to get there. We're going to see what he's got now. I'm glad we got Pacheco, and he's going to very much be a part of what we have. But we need to see where we can take Gibbs now. We've only scratched the surface of him.
Translation, we gave this dude all this damn money. We about to run his ass into the ground. We gave him all this money. Yeah, we gonna sprinkle Pacheco in there. We gave him all this money. We about to run that ass into the ground. We about to get the most out the lesser. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. Hopefully gives up for the challenge. My upset, man, my biggest upset this offseason. I'm gonna say this. Y'all ain't gonna believe it when I say it. Why am I so upset is that Penei Vaki got injured again. I'm like, bro, Penei Vaki was supposed to replace David Montgomery. You know what I mean? And he just wasn't supposed to be no special teams player. He was supposed to replace Penei Vaki, bro. So that didn't happen. That didn't happen, and it is what it is, bro. But yeah, Gibbs, I'm happy he got his money. I knew he'd get his money. Everybody's reading a little bit too much into the Brad Holmes. Brett, when you negotiate, you don't get too much. I knew he was going to be there because he didn't hold out. He was around in practice. He just didn't spat up and pad up and none of that stuff. So, yeah, man, I knew he was going to be there, bro. So, they paid him. And now it's time to, get their motherfucking roll on, as the big timers to say. And we see what Drew Petsky can do, with him, do with them, bro. Now we want to see what Drew Petsky really can cook up. Really ain't heard too many bad things about Petsky this offseason, but we did hear kind of like it seemed like they was kind of pushing the narrative. They were pushing the narrative about, trying to make it seem like John Morton, was such a great offensive coordinator last year. And, I kind of picked up on his obsession with explosive plays. He had a lot of obsession with explosive plays, you know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, bro, okay, what about the other stuff, And obviously, if you listen to the end of the season wrap up press conference that 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 Brad Holmes had, he was just saying that they needed more leadership. They basically need somebody to know what they was doing, somebody that was more punctual, more organized, and that's what he said. That's what he said. So now they, and when you hear what they say they needed out of that position, they just let you know everything that John Morton wasn't, and they wasn't even willing to work with John Morton to see if he can get there.
Jared, you're on your third offense coordinator in the last 3 years. So we want to ask you about Drew and just what you like, how easy it has been to adapt, how much of it is your experience in this league and kind of building this offense.
No, what happened?
Right now with a lot of these guys that we're talking about here.
Yeah, I think the best thing he's done so far is build something tailored to the guys we have. And I think that's difficult coming from another building, something you did somewhere else. Does it fit for us or not? It may be something he loves, and if it doesn't fit for us, he won't do it. And I think that's been the best part is him learning that about us. And then at the same time, there are some things that he does love that we need to learn how to do better. And it's a great blend. And he's been awesome. His teachings have been awesome. The way he holds you guys accountable has been awesome. His leadership ability, all of that, it's been great.
So like I said, everything that they was looking for in the offensive coordinator, leadership, accountability, flexibility, or the ability to be flexible in what they do well and what he likes to do well. Just the leadership, accountability, and it just seemed like that's what they was looking for. And a lot of people was beating on the desk for Mike McDaniels, but you had to just really listen to what Brad Holmes and what Dan Campbell was kind of saying about John Morton. McDaniels didn't really fit what they liked, what they needed. When you start talking about physicality, leadership ability, all these things was questioning about Mike McDaniels when he was in Miami. That's look what he allowing Justin Herbert to do. He allowing Justin Herbert to have a whole picnic with his bitch on during training camp. You think Dan Campbell will let Jared Goff be caked up with his hoe? No, excuse me, with his wife. My bad. On the sideline, like hell no. McDaniels didn't fit, and I was just trying to tell y'all why he didn't fit, but people just look at the name. Oh, McDaniels would have been no. McDaniels had several seasons or a few seasons in Miami to figure out that I got to go outside to New England into the Jets which is one of the most bizarre divisions in basketball football, to be honest with you. But what's the other one? It's they got to go out to New York, to the Jets outside in the fucking cold, Buffalo in the cold, and New England in the cold. If your team in Miami ain't built physically to be physical, you ain't gonna do nothing with them, bruh. You ain't got a best chance in hell to beat them. So he just didn't have the physical mentality that it took the need to be in Detroit, and I think now with Drew Petzing, they got the physical mentality, bro. I keep telling y'all that now they ready. They're ready, So people say he like to run heavy personnel sets, and the Lions got 3 receivers, and man, you find a way. You can be heavy. You can run a multiple offense. You can run an offense in which you can be heavy. You can run an offense in which you can go 5 wide receivers all within the same season, bro. It's just sometimes you see Ben Johnson go heavy. Sometimes you will see Ben Johnson spread it out. That's what I like, that they talk about this guy is going to tailor make the offense. He's going to tailor make this offense each week based on the defenses that they're playing, and that's something that Ben Johnson did. And the thing is like, well, Ben Johnson, they're just trying to pinch off the Ben Johnson tree. I think they took the best guy available for what they needed. That's it. They took the best guy available for what the Detroit Lions needed. Physical, structured, multiple offense. I mean, I don't know what more do y'all want? But he wasn't a name, and if you're not a name, people don't think you're any good. So I don't really get caught up in names, because at one point Ben Johnson wasn't a name. That's just the fact of the matter. So I'm gonna end off with this one. So apparently most people feel like this was shots fired by Eagles tackle Lane Johnson. And also this is something that somebody said this last year about Penei Sewell. I think it was a former Packer. Can't remember.
Yeah, and so man, with ranking and stuff, I take offense to some of it. I mean, I see guys that gave up a lot of quarterback hits last year, fucking in the Pro Bowl, all pros, and I'm like, I've seen a lot of all pros in the past, and usually they have a flawless performance in the pass game as long as in the run game. And so I don't know if standards are being lower or perception or analytics are getting away, but there's also film, and so some of these guys, I don't think it's all what it's meant to be.
So a lot of people said that he talked about Penei Sewell, that, I think Sewell gave up 1 sack or 2 sacks last year, but then he's saying he giving up a bunch of quarterback sacks. And it was funny. I was having a conversation with somebody a couple months ago in the gym, and they were saying that the reason why that's happening was because he was playing next to Tay Ratledge last year. And that, Tay Ratledge, they get him the best support being the right guard next to him. So I was like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. Penei Sewell is fantastic in the run game, best run defender, but, he's not that great in the passing game. And I was saying that maybe they don't want to flip-flop him to the left side. But, in general, we about to fuck around and find out. Now Lane Johnson, somebody said in the comment section, allegedly was a guy who tested positive for PEDs 2 times in a row. That's what's being said in the comment section. He got caught for being on that shit 2 times in a row. And here he is talking about another player, so, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It's good banner. The Eagles, the Lions could be some teams that was there, could be there at the end. I know a lot of people love, including myself, love what the Los Angeles Rams did. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, there could be some teams that's there at the end. This is what it's about. But if you cheated the game and you got caught juicing twice, if that's true, I mean, I don't really think you got no room to really be saying nothing. Respectfully, I don't really think he should be saying anything. It's like people forget that, like, bro, you cheated the game. Like, you ain't the best at shit if you had to cheat. Like, if you got caught with that needle in your ass, how can you sit here and pass judgment on anybody? Ain't that crazy? You cheated the game, and then you sitting here talking about, you sitting here talking about, oh, he ain't the best, and this, that, and the third, and we can complain about rankings all day. How the fuck was Dak ranked above Jared Goff? You know what I'm saying? Respectfully, how was Dak ranked ahead of Jared Goff? We can talk about that shit all day. But if you don't care about rank, you can't really care about.